Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily Dvar, and here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Monday, the 17th day of December. Here we go. Today we're going to do the sticky halacha as to whether you make a bracha on dessert at a meal where you made a hamotzi at the beginning of the meal. Well, let's get back to the basics. You know that whenever you have a meal and you make hamotzi at the beginning of the meal, that bracha on the bread pretty much covers all of the brachos of the entire meal. And that's because bread is considered like the main food. All of the other things are considered like they used to eat in sandwich style, and so the meat was always placed in the bread, and so the bread was kind of like the main, and so when you made that hamotzi, it was kind of covering for everything in the meal. Now, even though we don't always eat that way, sometimes at a Shabbos meal you only eat a little bit of bread and then mostly have cholent and meat and whatever. Well, we still consider it the same way, that the bread is the main thing, and the motzi covers for all the brachos of the meal, like at a Shabbos meal when you make hamotzi at the beginning. But then when you get to dessert, it's interesting. You see, dessert is not exactly part of the meal. Often when people eat dessert, they're actually full. They're not really eating to satisfy their hunger anymore. It's just kind of like a fun, sweet thing that people do at the end of their meal. But if you ask them, are you still hungry? They're not necessarily hungry. They're stuffed and they're just pushing down some more delicious food at the dessert. That makes it that the hamotzi doesn't really cover for that dessert, and that's because it's really not part of the meal. It's just some extra activity that you're doing at the end of the meal, and it's not eaten with your bread. It's not part of your meal. It's just some sugary ending, even if it's not a sweet thing, but it's just some kind of add-on, and therefore there are rabbis who say that a bracha is necessary on the dessert at the end of your meal. Now, if it's cake, then cake is so close to bread in what it is. It's just flour and whatever. So most rabbis will tell you not to make a bracha on a cake dessert. And the hamotzi will certainly cover your meal, and no separate bracha will be necessary on the cake dessert. But for desserts that are like applesauce at the end of the meal, or an apple, or a fruit salad at the end of the meal, a lot of rabbis will say that separate brachas are necessary for that dessert because it didn't fall under the category of the meal. Some people will even say it about things like parav ice cream at the end of a meal. I'm only saying parav because it's often at the Shabbos meal, and if there's ice cream at the end of the meal and the brachas shahakal, some rabbis would actually say shahakal on that dessert. What I would suggest you do is really discuss this with your rabbi, because there are so many differing opinions on this. I just wanted to alert you to the fact that some people make brachos on their desserts at the end of a hamotzi meal. And cake, according to most rabbis, is out and does not need its own bracha. Fruit, according to a lot of rabbis, is in and needs its own bracha. But I want you to discuss this with your own rabbi, who says the law for your family, because there's so many differing opinions on this. Just wanted you to know that the question exists. Now you're more educated. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.